Where you guys going? Fuck. Look at that, a mobile pedo treatment center in front of me.
About it, or they don't see the reasons, or they don't really look into those facts. That's where the issue lies. If there's an actual discussion, I don't really care if you think fragility is real or not, because eventually you are going to come to an opinion that is not necessarily based on how you feel, but on facts. And then from there, you can do whatever you want. Right. I don't necessarily care about like what people.
So, like, if someone were to go through, example, just to kind of use your timeline, if someone was raised in Canada, right, not the United States, if someone used your timeline, say, actually, according to Professor West, black actress, well over 95% of slaves in Africa were sold into slavery to African slave traders. Largely black African slave traders, of course, is wrong. And this was the bloodiest revolution in history to free the slaves because they recognized those ungodly basic principles of the Islamic Emancipation Proclamation. We were not uniquely responsible for starting slavery. We're uniquely responsible for ending it. There are more slaves today than ever recorded history.
Okay, so
on Earth
that right there.
According to those facts, it's 42 million. And someone says, so since there are more slaves on Earth today, largely in the Middle East, in Africa, and in Asia, that it would imply that those countries are probably more systemically racist than the least systemically racist countries in the world, the United States. So someone to walk through that line of history.
You're walking through it very incorrectly without understanding the basis of the foundation.
Also, you can't really say that white people, you can't say white people ended racism because black people fought to end racism. So white people are the reason it existed in the first place.
If it was for you, baby. If for white people, we would still be enslaved.
Really?
I believe that. I believe
that. How much have you read from Washington, from Jefferson, from Lincoln?
After he was raping all the slave women and making babies with them and
all
all that.
Historically inaccurate.
That is very true.
We're talking about
that's very
true.
true.
Jefferson?
Jefferson has freed their slaves upon their death because it was illegal.
It's very true that he raped slaves and he has children.
Jefferson
he has children by her.
Definitely raped Sally. Hamilton's wife had plenty of slaves. So let's not even
They all
go
had
there.
slaves.
Yeah, exactly.
And raped them and had children.
Where there were slaves.
And raped them and had children.
Certain ones did. Jefferson
definitely has a line of children.
Okay. So do you believe that if it were up to all white people, meaning the North, the people
from then we would still be enslaved?
Okay, that's not a good take. Anyways, I love you, but no. What I'm saying,
that's my belief.
I think.
So what was the start? What was the start of ending slavery?
Existed, you know. What I am saying is that because pickers exist, you can't blame all. You know.
I don't want to blame all, but I do think
you
that
can't say not all white people. There's pickers, people that exist like that. I'm saying a lot of white people in the past did not want a change in slavery. I mean, like
that's what I'm saying. Not all white people today. I'm saying from that era.
And I'm saying
all of Africa
there's
today.
People,
from
there's some people that didn't, right? There's a lot of white people who did. There's a lot of people. There's some white people who didn't. But what I'm saying is the reason that we got out of slavery is because of our hard work.
Can I say something though, without for both of you, because you both obviously are. Even though she's 17, she can run circles around you every day. Y'all are really good at this.
Waiting for it.
Yeah, she's really good. I still feel like we're not going to get anywhere with this conversation.
Right, because you started off with the idea that it must be based on racism.
We're not growing in this conversation at all.
And you can't.
You're defending.
No.
And she's defending. Nobody is moving forward.
Wouldn't it be incumbent? In other words, we're talking about defending. And this is why I'm saying we've had a lot of conversations. This is why we're down here, right? The first person to say white fragility can't be disproven is the conversation where it cannot be productive because it starts from a racist premise. If I were to come in and say, hey, you know what, not enough black people are talking about these issues, and that's because black people are incredibly fragile. That probably would be a good conversation. Right?
I think I'm intelligent enough to have that conversation.
I think you can definitely say that black people are fragile about certain things. I think there's something wrong with saying that. There's truth to that. I think every race is fragile about certain things in that race. I don't think that's
I disagree. Yeah.
No, you can say black people are fragile about this certain
I
thing.
feel black people are fragile. You can say that, and then we can then educate you on why.
Sure.
Yes.
Right. When I talk to you about fragility, every time you come up with like this is racist, this is racist, this is racist, almost every single time, and I talk, and I disagree with you on that because racism is power plus oppression, right? I mean power plus discrimination, right? And you can't have fragility because there's no
Effing.
Black people can't be. Fragility is not racist because it has no power behind it, right? So, or it has. I mean, there has power behind it towards black people. That's why it is like white people having fragility is racist. Because that means they have a racial. So
do you really black people have no power behind them in the United States?
I think every race has power behind. I mean, there's power in numbers, but I don't think our power is equal to the white man.
Oh, exactly. So here's my question for you, because I'm
I think it depends on the person.
I don't.
I think
it depends on the white
systematically, right? So we're talking about the prison industrial system and things like that, and racial profiling and how people think things, how people categorize and stereotypes, and the Jezebel and the Sapphire and all. I think that's the word. I think I must have word that. Thank you. And the Jezebel and the Mammy and all of those things, and how black women in healthcare systems, especially, and things like that.
You just throw out words. Jezebel can apply to white people too. What are you talking about? The idea
historically, especially in minstrel shows. Especially in minstrel shows, it applies to black women. That stereotype is placed more on black women. It can apply to white people, but it's not as often.
We're just across from us, not the slutty vegan. I mean, it's something that goes across the board.
I know. What I'm saying is
a racial issue.
Slutty vegan is a black woman.
Anyways, but what we're saying is that
there are plenty of sluts.
I understand Jezebel has a story. It's biblical, but it also historically has been used against black people in minstrel shows a lot too. So Jezebel has a slightly more racial coded tone than the word slut does. You feel what I mean?
Any of those problems that you identify, this is one thing to talk about today. Any of those problems that you just identified, yeah. Are any of those problems not racially based?
So, prison industrial system, definitely. What was the next one?
Public education.
Because of like where living spaces are, and because of like
keto
and slums and redlining and all of these things. That's based on anti-blackness and also based on class. And class
you toss Disney in there.
Yeah. Disney has racism too.
And Ty, the Beanie Baby company.
Yeah. Anyways,
I lost a ton of money on those. I'm really waiting for the value.
Do you realize that Ty, the Beanie Baby company, right now owns the license for all the Disney princesses, but he refuses to make one Disney princess, and that happens to be Tiana. He refuses to make that one. So I'm just saying, it lies within so many different facets.
Also, just think about
I gotta tell you,
there's nothing to say about that.
I don't know that that's even true, or that it's because of her race. I know that Princess the Frog was one of the most successful modern Disney films.
It's true because the director.
Which is a black mermaid.
Okay, can I speak? Director of marketing. Director of marketing. Sure. It's very true. I worked for the company for 5 years. So instead of saying I don't know that's true, I would love for you to say, oh my God, that must be hurtful. This is where the divide is. You automatically let me speak. You automatically went for, back up a little bit. You automatically went for I don't know if that's true. I don't know. Instead of saying, wow, could that be true? If so, that must be horrible. I don't know that it's true, and that I'm not going to attribute. I'm telling you what the tone is that you just said for
so much that I don't trust what you're telling me. He just said that there weren't white people freeing the slaves. It was only because of black.
I didn't say that.
So Jefferson raped his woman.
I never said
accurate.
That.
So
I'll
take your word.
How do you know he didn't rape his woman?
There's a guy named David Barton. He has a artifact.
Were you there?
So can I answer your question? Can I speak?
Then let's both say no.
Can I speak?
Then let's both say no. We both don't know.
This is, I think we're kind of identifying a primary issue. It's not black-white, it's male-female. I think that's the issue that we're looking at.
No, black-white. It's very black.
I think that the interrupting, the aggression, and the implication that someone needs to, when I have not taken any closer steps towards you.
I don't care, but
It's
if
a
I
notably
feel
female
uncomfortable,
issue,
it's
and we've been able to have productive conversations with black men across the board, and by the way, women, but there does seem to be a divide in interrupting and being abrasive and certainly being more aggressive.
So,
I didn't.
Mama, please.
Wait a minute. I didn't start out that way. Can you wait? Let me say this.
You understand, like, we're in a trap,
Can
right?
you let
You're
me
making
say
worse.
this? It is a trap. Let me say this. It didn't start out that way.
Mhm.
You made me feel that way.
I don't care.
Okay, good.
I
End
care
of
about the
conversation.
facts. I wasn't
Okay,
intending
so
to make you feel that way.
It's
and if
the
you
end
look
of the
at what I said,
conversation.
that's fine.
You just shown your true colors.
I don't care that you feel that way if you're wrong. And that
Yeah,
wasn't
you
the
were
in-
trapped, and you guys. And this is
Every
horrible.
single conversation today has
Yeah.
been productive. We found more in common than less. Every single one,
Yeah.
with the exception of this, and this is the only one where I was told I couldn't have an opinion because of white fragility. And I
You
just,
can have an opinion. I said personally that you could have an opinion, right? I said that multiple times, as long as you come with facts and, like, proof, right? Because, okay, here's my
but we
thing.
haven't
My
addressed any of them.
We have, especially with the same thing. I said from my sources and from my facts, we have a difference of facts and opinions. So we should have dropped that totally and completely, moved on to something else, like maybe the prison industrial system, or maybe something else that has more basis. But you just kind of pounded on the fact of one thing, and you didn't really address. This is not like a great conversation to have, right? And for my mom, she's not like I'm trained in debate, so I know how to see certain debates you're making. And I know how to move around them or know how to deal with them. She does not. So she will fall into that trap a little bit more easily of how...
What trap have I laid? I'm really not trying to lay a trap.
Laying a trap, but you're being difficult to talk to and understand, and there's a lack of empathy on both sides. And I feel like that's the main issue, is there's a lack of empathy on both sides, and we're not really reading each other or hearing each other. And that's where the main issue is. And Mom, she's pretty strong-willed, she's pretty strong-headed, and when she comes to debate, she comes to win. I come from a different perspective.
So my goal was this. My goal was this. First, to hear each other. And within this conversation, I didn't feel that. It changed. You just told me I don't care. You just said there's no facts. You just told me everything negative instead of listening and hearing. And I thought this conversation would have been completely different.
Well, the good news is
and
you'll
now
be
I
able to
feel like I'm
rewind
in a
it, and
trap.
you'll be able to see the behavior that you have exhibited here,
You,
not myself. And you can watch it.
Okay.
You can rewind it.
that's what
because
you think of
you-
black women.
Why do we go to
Mom,
rape?
you're making a lot of statements right now that are not helping this conversation and making you look worse.
Is it possible that I think
care.
that maybe you've been impolite, that maybe you've been inaccurate in some of your
I
assumptions
think
yourself,
most people have been impolite.
and not
I
because
think
you're black,
we've both been impolite.
and not because you're black? So why does it have anything to do with your race? If I just think you've been
because
aggressive.
I think so. Here's the thing. Here's what I want you to hear. Whenever a woman or a black woman
aggressive
or
stereotypes, please don't do it.
asserts herself
Mhm.
or says this is
Please don't do
incorrect,
it. It's so tired to do that. It's so tired. to
the
just use
conversation
another
is now over.
That's
Have a wonderful day.
I'm saying-
Because the way you're treating me,
because you
because
see
the
what,
way you're
when you
treating
say
me,
Mom,
every
you're
time a
making it
black
worse.
woman asserts herself, no,
or a
that's
woman.
not true. That's not true.
Okay,
That's not true.
let's
That's
rephrase
not
it.
what's
A
happening.
lot of times, often there's a thing called tone policing. I'm sure you know about it, right? And that happens a lot often to people and have these conversations. When people get aggressive about something that hurts them, a lot of people will tell them they're being aggressive instead of looking deeper. Mom, instead of looking deeper into what's going on and seeing how that hurts them and having empathy. Empathy is the biggest thing.
I have, but the thing is,
But
you're
you
not hearing me.
I'm trying to hear
The
you.
root cause of it is historical inaccuracy and lies that you've been fed. To say that the nuclear family is white supremacy, you can take out the black children it makes it worse.
Family does not make
Welcome, everybody.
It's the single biggest indicator that you have success, ending up in prison, graduating high school, being literate.
Dirty dog.
Parents, sure, that's useful.
Tommy,
Because
good to see you.
It's not even close.
Because of the nuclear family, right? Having your mom and dad, right? But what
Another
if
Bud Light
it's
company.
the dad? You can still have those benefits, right? It's more so
Oh.
than only having one parent to depend
I don't think they own it, but
on. Family is having one
that was some bullshit right there.
If one parent, let's say, died, right? But they had the entire family come in.
Almost like they don't have the right to have that name.
So why is that not happening in the black community?
It is. A black community is very communal.
Yeah, I think Liberty Safes is done.
The thing that you are living, but it's not. Statistically, it's not. Statistically, there are more children in the black community. It's single houses, not even close.
Get that training in. I'm sure they could use it. I'm sure you're the person to do it.
That's more of a class issue. I'm talking about, like, okay, continue.
It's single biggest indicator that we have of one's success in life.
Your government.
Successful relationships themselves. They're going to school.
Also, yeah.
I'm telling you exactly what I think it is. I think it's very important for children to have parents in their lives.
I study this a lot. A lot of time.
I study this a lot, but
people will often diagnose Black
grew
children with behavioral issues instead of
had a nuclear
looking at
family.
other criteria.
Prison, murder, arson, theft. I'm not talking about ADHD. I'm talking about the chances of single-parent households,
Also, a great
murder, prison, theft, violent crimes. Right?
I'm just trying to. This is like a little pinpoint, so I can you can see like a bigger picture, I suppose. So when you look at
Does
like,
he even-
yeah, so what did you say?
Said I apologize for being myopic.
So, when we look at Black children, right, they're more likely to be diagnosed with ADHD and things like that, but also behavioral issues.
What was that? Could be.
Like different mental issues and behavioral issues, right? Let's go back. So, they're more likely to be diagnosed with behavioral issues instead of like other mental conditions, right? But in reality, they might fit those better because of the perceived racial biases a lot of people have, right? And this goes with like medicine, how Black women are treated, and how they're they're more likely to die in pregnancy and childbirth, right? And I feel like that's just like a small peek into how a greater society treats a lot of Black people. They ignore what we're saying, and they choose to think about us in a different way than what actually is real.
Okay. So can I respond to that? There are a couple of things, and this is where hopefully these conversations can take place. There's another reason that Black women are more likely to die during childbirth, and that's because of obesity. And when we're talking about behavioral disorders, I'm talking about murder, I'm talking about violent crime, 13%. So again, is there a certain point where it's not someone else's fault?
I think everything's connected. You can't really take one thing away from the other.
If you take that out,
But I'm saying you can't take it out
and this is why I
because
said not just deliver one of many that are listed. Right? There's no getting away from 13% committing 52% of the violent crimes. 13% of the population. It's largely Black men, by the way. So it's really about under 6%. So why is that? Why is that? And how do you offer that statistic? 13% of the population, 52% of the crimes, which doesn't have to be on Black people.
You're not listening. This is not a productive conversation.
I agree.
No, because you don't agree.
Not to use my data for anything.
I'm not going to use your data.
We do not approve of being on camera or doing anything.
It's a single-party consent state, and you already did. But I'm not sure how productive the conversation is anyway, so it may not be useful. I agree with that. I agree with that. But it may be something that we use.
I'm asking you not to use anything.
I will take it into consideration.
And
I'll take it into consideration.
okay.
we don't want you to use anything with our face or name on it whatsoever on anything having to do with you.
It doesn't matter though. It doesn't matter.
So anything related to you, we do not consent.
Now we're going to disagree on this. We're single-party consent laws. Are we familiar with them, or is that just it's the law? Now, if we want to have a conversation about, okay, remember you don't want to, but you did consent to this interview. It started off as friendly as all the others today, and now the law says, but that doesn't matter. The law says that doesn't matter.
Unfortunately, we did not consent.
Right.
And if
Also,
you want
what does
to
it
talk-
say that he's a company to renege on our consent? You know what I mean? I feel like that's a company. That's not great.
It's called journalism.
I hate that she was right.
It's called journalism.
I hate that she and your whole demeanor and everything about you shifted.
But what I'm saying,
And I was
Because he didn't agree with you. Because he's not going to agree with your bullshit.
Microaggressions and white fragility because that's racist. And that's my opinion. And you don't agree with it, that's fine. And you'll say it's privilege. And you'll say that obesity is because of white people. And you'll say that the murder is because of white mass murderers. But yeah, absolutely. Everything I said is white privilege. That must be it.
just think about it as like a company.
Yes.
This is not great for, like, if somebody should have said, we didn't give you consent, it's like a
Yes, why do you think you're the only ones who has this?
Also, a question. If your goal is to show this love and this great community, this is not productive.
Right. No, I agree.
Should be shown.
I don't think that this is good ambassadorship.
No. At all. So why are you fighting us?
I thought we was going to be a deep, great conversation.
So why are you fighting us on why you
Yeah,
want us to not be shown?
you thought because he's a white guy, he was going to agree with all your racist comments.
If we're telling you not to, that goes against your company ideals.
No, well, first off, you don't know the company or our ideals.
But you literally just said it's about body and community. So why would you show us, one, not wanting to? That's not nice.
She's a minor.
I am a minor. But also, like, it's just not a nice thing to do, you know? I feel like from like this company perspective, you want like bonding community. This is not what this is doing.
No,
I mean, he did
agree
blur
with
out the
you.
minor's
I would
face,
ask the
so-
question of yourselves, just like you asked me to check privilege. I would ask of yourself.
This is why it's worth to
Why
get
is this
Mug
the only
Club.
one where that's the case?
I'd love to see Steven
Why are we out
unleashed.
here for hours? Well, that's the thing is, there's the value in that is when you talk about the company, seeing the contrast. That some people don't have. You talk about the Bible. Here's to you. You said that to me, but I have never said it's because you're black. You can go back to it and rewind it. I've never once made a generalization that because you are black, you can't X or Y. You've done it at least 8
I
times.
said you're more likely
And
to, or you're more.
that's why I would say this one wasn't productive.
She has. I personally have not. And this entire thing, I see you're more predisposed to do certain behaviors, like most people are in society. But I said because
I'm
you're
talking
white,
about what I'm
you're
listening to,
I have
Chopper.
not once said that. And I don't think because someone's white, they're more like they're going to do what.
I think you got
just based
a
on
good
how
chance
they
of helping them
think. I
out.
think it's everything we do as humans is based on how we think, you know?
Can we find some common ground on this? If I'm going to take what you're just saying, and I believe that 100%.
You have class-
Can you listen
free-
to what I'm about to say? And just
I don't know anything about your free speech,
You just
man.
said you've
I
never
let you
once
say what you want.
One thing.
I still get to say what I think about it.
Everything I say, you say, well, no, believe what I'm taking you as genuine at your word. Take me. It's never going to be helpful for you to start the conversation.
I mean, YouTube's gonna get you before I do. That's for
So
sure.
even if you make that, in other words, remove that from your vocabulary.
I wish I could just as easily be doing this on Rumble.
Concept. I think the word.
Open
is
up the app and then hit
concept
and
is
start
so
streaming.
You know that people
But I can't.
take in what
No.
society gives them, and then they have this way of
I gotta go
thinking.
through
I
this
think it's a valid
whole
concept.
rigmarole.
I think it's the idea that you are a byproduct of your
Then
environment.
again,
Yeah,
Sure, as a concept.
society
And I think
positions people to.
I wouldn't say
have those
society
thoughts.
because it's,
TV, media. Let's go with that then.
that's a big part of it. Yes, and that's what you're
So
talking, right?
if go with TV, media. If they're conditioned to think that, then
So let me ask you this. I think this is where I'm making headway. What you have expressed today, would that be more in line with everything that you see in television and media than what I'm communicating? The idea of white fragility, white privilege that needs to be checked for systemic waste. That's what you'll see on CNN and ABC and NBC and CBS, right? That would be conditioned.
I think it's a lot more subtle than that. I think it's small things. I think you can say the big word out loud and say white fragility is this X, Y, Z. You can educate people, but it doesn't undo just only being exposed to certain people, right? So a lot of white people especially live in white spaces. They're not really
Yeah, in
exposed to
this
people of
place.
color. So that's how their brain thinks. It's nothing necessarily like it's not great, right? But it's not their fault, and I understand that. Just because something is not their fault doesn't mean it's not bad. Something could be like they're born with psychopathy, right? That's a that you're born with most of the time. Sometimes slightly raised, right?
Sometimes nature and nurture. Yeah, that's fair.
Right? But that doesn't mean it's a good thing, right? So something can be placed on you. It's not necessarily a good thing. It's not necessarily your fault either, right?
Right.
But it's something you should all
Like
work
narcissism.
towards. Yes, but it's something we should all work towards to get better from, right? Like if I was born with something horrible, I have to work towards it and become a better person through that. Same thing with something that was placed on me. I have to work towards that and become a better person. That's what literally everything. So media in subtle ways, because it does happen subtly. I mean, look at like there's representation. Look at how on media and Disney Channel, especially Disney Channel, how white people and Asian people often are portrayed. Little kids absorb that, you know, and I feel like they have to do the work now to get that out of their heads. So I think that's a fair state, and I think getting that out of your minds, people don't want to change, and that's where the right fragility comes from. It's not really because they're fragile; it's because they don't want to change the way they think and don't want to go against the grain because they
he's
don't
like,
want
what
to admit
the
to
fuck
themselves
are
that
you
they were
talking about?
socialized in this way. And it's not their fault, but they think it's their fault because it's the way they think.
I think that is the most fundamental way of thinking. There's no way to absorb new information. There's no way to use a critical thinking lens because no matter what I say, people say maybe it's not white people's fault, but it's because they're white. And if
I
you're
don't
going
think
to
it's
educate,
because I don't think it's because they're
people,
white. I think
If I could
this
finish,
happens with Asian
if I could
people as
finish.
well. You know,
I think, yeah, for example, affirmative action, right? That everybody was screwed by that at Harvard.
I wasn't talking about that. I was talking about.
Asians for sure. You know, I don't think it's Asian for
Can you let me continue my sentence? I was talking.
Finish with my answer.
I was already talking before you did your answer. But what I was
She
saying,
stepped
Asian
over
people, I was
him.
talking about sometimes Asian people have this idea of black folks because they're only the black folks they're only shown a lot of the times are these bad stereotypes, especially overseas, right? And I feel like it's still bad, but it's not their fault, so they have to work through that, right?
Well, that's because they've been the victim of black violent crime
I'm
at a
talking
disproportionate
about
rate.
overseas right now. They probably have it statistically, But
in the United States, it's
I'm
unbelievable.
talking about overseas right now.
So can I ask you a question?
It's overseas, like in Asia.
So here's I have a
Overseas,
question.
yeah, like in Asia, in Japan, in Korea, where we're a monolith of races,
Can I
right?
ask you a question? So the undertones that I'm feeling from you right now
She's feeling
are,
it.
when does Black people of color take responsibility? Why are Black women overweight? Why are men locked up in prison? These are the things that you're amplifying, right, in our conversation, because you're saying all of these things.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Okay, then that's how I accept.
That's how you feel.
That's how.
And at a certain point, I'm not saying I don't care about you. I don't care how you feel about those statistics that we were discussing. I wasn't the one who brought up.
Okay.
I wasn't the one who brought up. Hold on a second.
I'm sorry.
Infant mortality rates and maternity death rates. I think that education is a great tool against discrimination, is a great tool against prejudice. And I think recognizing those statistics and saying, okay, why do we, now I'm not saying that it's just because Black women are, I'm not saying because it's melanin, but there are some other issues that if you go, wait, maybe the mortality rate for birthing mothers is lower because of health complications, comorbidities. That's a clarification.
I don't disagree, but there's so much more than that.
I understand, but what I'm saying is when you start that it's race, when I was addressing the issue that it's solely based on race. And I think that if you look at it through that, in other words, your daughter, I understand a strained debate, said, if you look at and rattled off reasons for, I shouldn't say for, because women are Black, they X, Y, Z. Like, that's not because they're Black. There are other compounding factors, and I think that's important.
So,
Is that
what's
fair?
important is, I think that that's fair, but I also think that the baseline, it's not 100% because of any color, right? I think the baseline, because of history, all of the things that have compounded on each other leave us where we are. Now, that's the thing.
So if you look at that, like red line,
And I think that think that choice is an individual choice responsibility is the biggest component to that. Certainly bigger than race. I do.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
Yes,
I feel like
let me
from a psychology
explain.
perspective,
Let me go from the heart.
page.
Let me go from the heart.
He's not going to listen to that, Mom. He's only about facts. You know that, right?
Okay, I know that you're about facts, but I want to go from the heart, and I want you to hear me, because we are. I know you think it's not going to work, but if he chooses to air this without our consent, I hopefully he airs this part, because I want you to understand.
I'm listening.
Us being where we are, and my kids in great schools and going off to college and successful children and a 2-parent household and all of that, when we go into the inner city and we do work, we volunteer and I'm listening to the other kids. One boy told me, I didn't know, and this is education, I didn't know that college was an option. I didn't know that smoking weed is not what people don't, that's what we do every day, because that's what he sees. That mom, that was her parent, mother and father before. That parent was that mother and father before. So because they're in this,
There was no father though.
Same thing.
Just because you happen to have it in your family, you think,
Title I school that's not giving them the education that the other schools are giving
I'm
them.
so glad I
This
listened to
becomes
this.
a cycle that they don't even know how to get out of. I didn't come from that. My grandfather is a biologist. I'm third, fourth generation.
You're privileged.
I didn't come from that. So seeing that and understanding that, even as an affluent Black woman, seeing that our inner city kids don't
Because you have
know
family.
how to get out,
Racial.
don't have the education to get out, and that is so powerful. And that's the
And it's
main
heartbreaking.
issue.
It's heartbreaking.
That's the issue.
It's education.
It's
They're not
exposure
getting
more
it.
so than
It's
education.
exposure. It's not education, because they go to school every day, right?
No, they don't.
And they're not
I would
being
agree.
exposed.
Education
outside
isn't
of that.
working.
No, it's not.
It's not working.
Because their education is not the education that she's getting. So it's exposure. Someone going into the inner cities and saying, your life can't be different, let me show you. Let me send you away to a camp that says,
my chat won't come up right now for some reason.
This could potentially
The
look
fuck?
like. Your life does not have to be this.
There we go.
It's us
Hey, Matt.
really diving in and going in
There
and
you go.
exposing our
Fixed it.
kids.
Switched it to top and then back to live.
And I think two things. I agree with that, and that's why we're out here. It's incredibly heartbreaking. And I understand what you're discussing. Coming from, my father was raised in Detroit, the bad area of Detroit, right? He was there when they did the first cross-district busing interracial
Right.
system, and it didn't go well. They had the Detroit riots, right?
Right.
He had people at it worse, were friends, dads who were black, who were cops. They had to go home in unmarked cars. They were being shot by other black men who were snipers on rooftops. It was a horrible war zone. He lived through it. And I understand the statistical reality and how unbelievably hopeless it is for a lot of people, by the way. And certainly black kids in inner cities, okay? I agree with all of those things. Now, I would just make 2 points and allow you to just for a moment consider that this isn't coming from white privilege, but that it's a space in which I work, and maybe I am well-read enough to propose a solution that I think we could all at least take a step toward. Okay. One is, I think school is not going to, we both agree, school isn't fixing it.
No.
Okay. Now we have to agree that it's not because of money, because the schools get the same amount of money if you look at it. They do. Per pupil spending is, okay, let's, these public schools, it's unreal. But let me, can I just finish, please? Let me finish one trail of thought here. Let's assume that I'm not lying about that. Okay, let's assume that per pupil spending is comparable. Okay, I think the most important thing is going to be the kind of household that you have created with a husband who you love. I think that's far more important than school. And here's, how about this? How about the idea? This is one solution that I've always wondered why everyone can't get on board with. Not school choice. And by that, I mean a voucher. I don't mean defunding public education. I mean, rather than forcing a child to go to that school because that's his district, the voucher is attached to the child. He can take it to any school he wants.
I agree with that. Okay, I agree with that 100%.
I agree with that. The
Okay.
issue is like if they don't
Do you know why it's been shut down in the government?
No.
Because it's racist.
The government's kind of, I don't. The
The
government has
it's,
like a whole
we have been told that
conversation.
that is racist for what you just said. Maybe some black kids don't have parents with cars. Maybe they don't, it would be further from the, but the point is, right, at least some choice is better than no choice.
Exactly.
And I come from Canada.
I agree with that.
I feel like that's a policy that
That's
almost
a crossing
anybody
bound.
could agree. I think the government itself has a lot of issues. I think anybody in America who has a brain can see that the government has issues and it's not serving the people, but it's serving the people
School
who are.
vouchers, there's common ground.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree
And
with
I
that.
have actively, by the way, fought for that
I
on a
think
political level.
Yeah, I
You
agree
know,
with that
the
100%.
pushback I face on that is that's racist.
yeah, it's not.
Kentucky Derby under a blanket.
Democratic
There you go,
That's
Chopper.
very interesting because,
And
but and that's because also that there's money tied behind schools.
Yeah.
There's funding, so all that goes back down to
I completely agree.
the system of racism.
They're probably saying
A
it's
system that
racist.
doesn't work.
The system that doesn't.
My only disagreement there would be it's not because, in other words, I don't think that schools in South
I think
Dallas,
funding. Yeah.
black teachers, black principals, I don't think that they're racist. I think that there's no accountability in the public school system.
I agree with
So it
that.
hasn't improved. I don't think
I
it's
agree
racist.
with that. I agree with that.
Yeah, I
I
also
agree
just,
with that.
I'm just gonna say, get the common ground.
Yeah.
I think that the reason they're saying that it's racist, because it's obviously not, right? I think it's because they probably have some other, like, financial reason behind it that's prohibiting
Sure.
you, and I think that's the biggest issue in America.
Sure.
Or
That
not
way
the
they
biggest,
could just
it's
say
one of
we
the
need
biggest
more
issues in
money.
America today is that our people are up high are not doing what they need to do to help the people down low. You know what I
I would
mean?
certainly agree that we have a problem with government not representing their constituency and not acting in the best interest of the people. Completely, and I certainly would say that is true of the public education system, and I think it's failed all children, and particularly, children in the black community. It has not served
It's
them
not
well.
just children in the black community.
It's children everywhere
It's
too.
Hispanic, it's black, it's Asian.
It's everywhere.
If it's a little white kid that is at a Title I school, he's still getting that.
I agree.
It's a class
So
issue.
it's across the board.
It's the educational system
That's
problem.
across the board.
Yeah.
Yes.
But
That I agree.
right, but the idea that behind school choices, so they would say school vouchers, and this is why I say this, because I think it's one of those things where I've never heard an argument against it
No.
that was valid, is sure, maybe, and I get this, and we go back to the idea of a family, right? Let's say it's a black boy who doesn't have a father who would drive him to another school, right? He's going to be more disadvantaged than someone who does have two parents, but he is distinctly more disadvantaged right now by being a byproduct of what you said, and I agree with his immediate environment. In other words, right now, black children are disproportionately negatively affected if they have no choice, and so the school is a byproduct of the environment, and it's not worked. And so having the option to go anywhere else, and I say this because I'm from Canada, that's where I was raised, where I went to public school. I was not raised in a wealthy household. I was raised in a 3-bedroom apartment with 4 people, about 900 square feet. But I did much better education. The reason I didn't know until I moved to the States, as long as I was willing to get on a bus, I could go to a choice of 5 different schools. And I came to the States, and I said, you have to go to that school just because it's your zip code? People said, yeah, it's archaic, it's asinine, and if there's no other common ground, I think that's something that hopefully everyone can at least move toward.
Yeah, I think that's why like private school this gives you such a bigger advantage is because you get to choose where you want to go.
And teachers get fired if they're bad.
They do.
Some, but more than public schools.
That's true. It depends on the private school though, because there's some private schools who will not fire teachers who are like horrible people.
Because it's all.
It's money. If a teacher has a parent who's like really rich that in system, they don't get out.
So
Right.
anywhere we go, I think the school system, and we've kind of shifted gears here in this conversation, but no matter what, the school system is just.
I think that black and white and brown and Asian people should all be on. This is one area we can all be on the same page as far as reform for public education.
I agree.
It should be a bipartisan issue.
I wanted to leave it on the pot because I genuinely do want to hear listen to you guys, and I understand a lot of the points and disagree with some, but I'm glad that we found something that we can genuinely agree on, because that has a real, material, I'm getting heat stroke, quantifiable effect on people's lives.
I was born here, so I'm right.
Yeah, I was not. Well, we get 40 below, so no one fares too well in that either. But yeah, this is true. And Carrington.
This is our teacher. It's pretty good. That's all I can say.
I think there's potential.
Oh, it's pretty good. It's better than potential. She's off to amazing college. She's going to do amazing things.
Well, I think that I'm glad that you built a wonderful family and you're supportive of your kids. I think it's very important. And honestly, across the board, people don't take it into account enough, regardless of race and stuff. It's a beautiful thing. I mean that.
All right, I apologize. I guess everyone's perfect and no need of improvement. This wasn't entirely fruitless. Still, you can clearly see the difference between this conversation and all of the others that have taken place in this series. And I'd point out, largely, the difference seems to be that people who haven't had to think critically about their positions or defend them. If anything, what was said here could be modeled after every single legacy media and white suburbanite talking point. That being said, I respect anyone willing to take the time to speak, and for that, I thank you. If you'd like to see more of Black and White and the Gray issues, drop a like, comment, tell me what topics you would like to see most in the future installments. Remember, none of this is possible without you. Join the fight and sign up for Mug Club today at louderwithcrowder.com/Mug Club. Gain access to an unrivaled catalog of unapologetic and entertaining creators, including Hodge Twins, Nick DiPaolo, Brian Callum, and of course, Alex Jones. All that and everything you see today is entirely funded by viewers like you. For $89 annually, join the fight at louderwithcrowder.com/Mug Club today.
That's pretty good. Did I see Tucker's interview? Yes, finally did. I listened to it last night on the way home. No surprises there. That guy's not the only one that has come out with that little story about Barry either. So, do I think Big Mike's the man? I doubt it. But I do believe she knows what he's been up to. I think he picked a woman that had very manly features because that's ultimately what he likes. So yeah, I watched it. Sorry, I'm also driving. Not looking forward to your VA appointment. I've got occupational therapy for my elbow on Monday. I start that, so that ought to be fun. Let's see if this other thing is on. Watching the watchers. Oops.
Reason, but some in the Republican Party say there is enough to impeach Joe, and we'll see if they get there or not. But that, my friends, is what is on deck for us on the day. It is a lovely Thursday and grateful that you are here and with us. We're doing an early show today. I've got a 2-day event, networking event that I'm going to be going to, and so I'm kind of splitting the days here. We're going to be doing morning updates today and tomorrow, and then I'll be down at the event for the afternoons and the evenings, and so we'll certainly be back here, but that is the schedule update if you're wondering what is going on here, why we're a little early today. We also have our new website, robertgovea.com, which is where you can go check out our new newsletter delivered to your inbox every day. We're working on some cool stuff for that to bring you some extra value into your inbox. We also have our locals community, watchingthewatchers.locals.com, where we do member-only streams. And when I'm down at my events, I'll be posting some members-only updates on exactly what we're going on. A lot of personal development stuff, marketing, business stuff, and mindset development, health, wellness, all that stuff. So check us out, watchingthewatchers.locals.com. We love our members. Thank you for supporting us, whether you're on YouTube or on Locals. We appreciate it. Also, before we get into the show today, let's
That's
make sure we're
crazy.
healthy and fortified, courtesy of our friends at Field of Greens, because we all would like to lose some of those
Let me know.
pounds or Labor Day pounds or whatever's going on there, but we're all sick of the ads.
Still got 20 minutes left in this drive,
We've
so
all been there.
I'm probably not going to do a
We know
desktop
they just
stream
don't
today.
work. But you know
I'm
what
hoping
does?
it's going to be so busy that I won't have time.
Healthy servings of fruits and vegetables.
Never know. If I go live, it means none of my appointments showed up.
Right off. But vegetables and fruit, who's got time to prepare that every day? I don't. Let's talk about Field of Greens instead. Field of Greens is a science-backed formula. Specific fruit that you're not going to find you burn calories faster and lose weight the healthier way. And Field of Greens is the only brand backed by a better health promise. Yes, you're going to look and feel healthier fast, but the greater proof is going to come at your next checkup when your doctor says, woo, you are looking great. Whatever you're doing, keep it up. So let's get you started. Head on over to fieldofgreens.com. Don't forget to enter code Robert when you check out so you can save your 15% off your first order. You're going to be bursting with green energy, the good kind, and let's not forget, the vegetables want to be eaten. That's why they're here. They're bursting, they're colorful, they're just like, hey, look how delicious I look. Eat me. All right, so let's get into it. We've got some show business to attend to. As Biden's poll numbers collapse, Democrats continue to hit the panic button, and one of their new tactics is, in order to preserve democracy and make sure all Americans can participate, one theory is they can do that by removing a candidate from the ballot. Of course, we're talking about Donald Trump. The 14th Amendment, we have already here covered some other lawsuits. We call them first drafts here. Florida man filed a lawsuit that was immediately dismissed, filled with typos, I have a bunch of nonsense arguments, but it was step one, right? They're taking shots on goal right now to try to develop these arguments, and they just need one state to fall. If they can get Trump removed from one ballot in one state, it's going to be persuasive precedent for other states to do the same thing. It'll be like a dominoes series of falls from all of the lefty secretaries of states and board of electors in various localities. But why are they doing this? Now, we're going to go through this. It's a new lawsuit filed in Colorado. It's 115 pages, a lot more serious than the last one. We're going to go through it in detail before we hear from Trump and Trump's lawyers. Lindsay Halligan says that this is not that big a deal. But why? What is all this for? If Joe Biden is such a legitimate and capable candidate, why can't he just beat Trump handily? Why can't he just go and make his arguments on a debate stage? Go campaign, go bring his case to the American people. Why do they have to do like Barack Obama did in his Senate race and get his opponents thrown off the ballot? Why is Joe trying to do this? Well, this is why. His poll numbers are in the toilet. CNN is even recognizing this. This is kind of a bloodbath from them on this clip. And this is curious because we also have juxtaposed with this new revelation from CNN. They're realizing, hey, nobody really likes Joe.
I might do a desktop stream anyway. I just don't know what I'm going to play. Is Callahan or anybody streaming?
Maybe something needs to change. Maybe Kamala is waiting in the wings.
I was slow starting this morning.
I'm ready and prepared. I know a lot about buses and USB ports, so I'm prepared to lead America. And she's talking all sorts of nonsense. We also have Dr. Jill Biden, who's a little bit sickly sick over there. Joe Biden's walking out of rooms. She's like, where am I at today? So maybe they're doing the old Indiana Jones, swapping that golden skull out for a new candidate. But this is CNN dropping the bomb.
We have brand new CNN polling this morning, and the numbers are rough for President Biden. They could spell Trump for Democrats and the president's hopes for re-election in 2024. Still early, but Biden's approval rating has sunk to 39%. Nearly 60% of voters think Biden's policies are making the economy worse. Close to 70% of Democrats want somebody else to run for president. And the president's approval among Democratic voters, that's slipping.
Yeah, these are all very troubling for the White House. This new CNN poll shows no clear winner between President
That's
Trump.
funny. Out of the 19 people indicted in that thing, the only one they actually would not give a bond to was the black dude. That's Democrats for you.
Nikki Haley, who leads President Biden by 6 points. Donald Trump 1 point ahead of Biden.
The judge actually gave, the magistrate that actually saw him giggled about it.
Those numbers, just to pause on those. Haley's up 6 points. Trump's up 1. DeSantis is tied. Pence beats Biden by 2 points. Scott beats Biden by 2 points. Ramaswamy loses, and Christie wins. Even Christie wins. 44 to 42%. So this is just, I mean, brutal, and this is basically saying anybody can win. So Nikki Haley better be very careful, because she's about to be indicted. If something like that were to happen, she's next on the chopping block. But I still, don't think obviously that's
Hey, Solo, what up?
Trump is far and away ahead. But my point is,
Let's go, buddy. You excited for Saturday? Want to get with me sometime on Friday? We'll work out the timetable. I want to go up there early. I want to go up there and see Shane Gillis. I haven't watched his Netflix special because I don't want to spoil it. I don't know how much of what's in that special is going to be in the live. Maybe go to what is it? The Founders Brewery or something like that, and chill, or whatever you want to do. But yeah, I want to kind of make a little bit of a day out of it. It's kind of an early show, so we'll be able to get home in time.
All that much. Take a look by party. You noted among Democrats, his approval rating is down a bit from where it was in July. He's at 74% among his own party faithful. Independents holding
Border Patrol
low for the president at 36%.
Border Patrol.
Obviously, single digits among Republicans. And look at how Biden stacks up.
Go right behind that dump truck,
modern-era
dumbass.
predecessors
Okay,
at this point in their presidency.
Fucking dropping rocks and shit all over.
He's hanging out in this category with Trump and Carter. Something about Trump and Carter? They lost their re-election efforts.
All right, so
Chop House, nice.
Who knows if these polls are accurate or not, right?
Nice.
You make up numbers. I think generally most polls are just kind of shots in the dark, and they're just numbers to talk about.
Oh, fuck, Corey's
about
fucking
it.
texting
I think you can doubt them, you can believe them, you can use them for whatever you want to use them for. I do think that they're interesting to watch trends, right? To see, maybe the same people who are measuring the same things are watching some trends. They're watching things go up or things go down. I don't necessarily know who's above what or what the jockeying, if that all really matters, but stuff moves, right? Stuff goes up, big movements, and things go down in big movements, and you can watch the trends. Now, the other thing with polls is they are kind of push polls, right? They kind of want to program you a certain way. So now CNN's coming out and saying, Nikki Haley, wow, she's on top. And it's like, hey, all the war people, all the endless World War III psychos, sure, Nikki Haley now, she's going to be the next great thing to, oust Donald Trump, because Ron DeSantis couldn't do it, so they're going to slot somebody else in. All the donors leave Ron, they all go over to Nikki Haley, the media takes the poll, starts shoving it down everybody's gullet to try to astroturf some support for whoever they want. So, it's the same thing here, but it's not just on the Republican side, it's also on the Democrat side. We can take a look and say, well, maybe they're doing the same thing. Maybe they're trying to signal to a bunch of people that Joe Biden's got to go, right? His numbers are in the dump. And it is time. He's going to lose to everybody. So make sure he has a COVID complication or something, and they give him the old boot. And then maybe that opens up the primary. Kamala Harris runs, and other people jump in. The party selects the nominee at the Democratic convention sometime in August. And then we wake up, we've got Michelle Obama or Gavin Newsom.
And that, I think, begs the question, David, about the just mood in general of the country. Did we get numbers on that?
We did, Poppy, and it's a sour mood out there. It really is, which is hard news for an incumbent. Only 30% of Americans think things are going well in the country. 7 in 10 Americans say they're going badly. You noted earlier, 58% of Americans say that Joe Biden's policies have worsened economic conditions. That's a majority there. This is why you hear him talking about Bidenomics all the time and trying to get that number lower.
It makes you think.
Which is a dumb thing to do because he's just labeling what everybody's feeling. Every time this kind of sucks. Inflation, groceries, cost of living, gas prices, everything's going up. So people are like wondering, why is this happening? Joe Biden's like, I know, Bidenomics. I know. That's why. Everybody goes, oh, okay, thanks for labeling it for us.
Was it right for them to label it Bidenomics?
Right, he's got to convince
about it.
Americans that he's actually improving the economy. You see a majority thinks he's worse than it. And look at these attributes. He doesn't have majority support on any of them. 45% say cares about people like you. A third of Americans say proud to have as a president. And down here, 28% of Americans only say he inspires confidence.
So, David, this is going to naturally bring forth the Bidenism of don't compare me to the Almighty, compare me to the alternative. What does that look like?
Have you heard that before? Yeah, exactly. So first, let's look among Democrats here. Okay, this is among Democrats and Democratic-leaning independents. This number is troubling. A third of Democrats want Joe Biden as the nominee. Nearly 2/3 of his own partisans would like a
Yeah, it's pretty cloudy here today, too.
What is the concern here? We asked an open-ended question. What is your biggest concern about Biden as a presidential candidate?
Yeah, happy anniversary, guys.
Of Democrats.
I didn't know that was tomorrow.
7% mental sharpness, 7% say health. And then we broaden out beyond Democrats, and we asked everyone.
Definitely a good place to eat.
Concerned that Biden's age might negatively.
The one in Ann Arbor there?
His ability to serve another full term? 3/4 of Americans seriously concerned about that. Nearly 3/4 of Americans seriously concerned that it negatively impacts his mental and physical competence. 68% concerned that he understands actually what the concerns are of the next generation.
Just pause on how significant those numbers are for a moment, David. This is Democrats?
No, this is everyone. This is everyone. But this is what he's entering into a re-election campaign. This is sort of the backdrop to that. So that's
like, even if these polls
falls on its way.
Say the polls are off by like, I don't know.
My favorite time of year, really.
The polls are off by 20%.
Weather-wise.
Okay, so what? All right, they're off by 20%. It's like, all right, well, still a lot of people, over half the country, still think he's incapable of doing this, right? So the trends are just insane. Ability to serve a full term is, and he's got another year. Really, before people really start voting, more or less.
He's entering into a re-election campaign. This is sort of the backdrop to that. So that explains, when we look at these hypothetical matchups against the Republican candidates, why Joe Biden, everything we just said, this is why it's a margin of error race, except, as you noted, for one candidate, Nikki Haley, the only Republican who's actually besting him outside the margin of error, 49 to 43. Everybody else here is a margin of error race.
Well, there you go.
That's for sure. My only issue is I do a lot of driving, and that means lots of school buses and kids on the road. But
covering this way, right? That was like 4 minutes there of them just obliterating Joe Biden day after day.
You got your line. Hey, Dirty, you got your lineup ready for tonight?
Is anything going to change any time?
It locks tonight because the Lions are playing the Chiefs.
So is Putin going to surrender?
I didn't even look. Who are you playing the first week?
Global bliss in eternal peace or something like that? I don't think so. And so when I see stuff like this, I feel like it's programming, right? This is less reporting than it is a signal to everybody else out there. Hey, our guy is going to lose, all right? So start organizing accordingly. And maybe they're already planning for it. I would presume that they are. So we are going to take a look at this lawsuit, but this is Adam Schiff saying this is totally legitimate. Removal of Donald Trump is perfect. Like, we need this to happen because Joe Biden cannot win, basically, against him or really anybody else. But they want Trump to be the nominee. Okay, here's their plan. Trump is going to win the primary, so the party will nominate him, and then they will keep him off the ballot. So they're going to have two things, right?
Yeah, Thursday night game. It's the Lions versus the Chiefs, the premier. Man, fucking piggies all over the place. One just passed me, one just pulled out in front of me.
The 14th Amendment that prohibits anyone.
It drops down to 25 up here. Here's he's doing a bit more than that.
Bars Trump from running for president.
But yeah, I think the game's at 7 tonight, so or 8.
Do you think, what's your thought on whether that's a
So just make sure your lineup is ready.
I think it's a valid argument. The 14th Amendment, Section 3 is pretty clear. If you engage in acts of insurrection or rebellion against the government, or you give aid and comfort to those who do, you are disqualified from running. It doesn't require.
It does not say that.
Convicted of insurrection. It just requires that you have engaged in these acts. It's a disqualification from holding office again, and it fits Donald Trump to a T. I think this will be tested when the Secretary of State either refuses to put him on the ballot, or puts him on the ballot and is challenged by a litigant. I would imagine it will go up to the Supreme Court, and that's the big question mark through all of this, which is, what will the Supreme Court do? There are prominent constitutional scholars as well as prominent progressive scholars who believe that he should be disqualified. But will the court take that step ultimately? Only time will tell, but I do think it is a very legitimate issue by the clear terms of the 14th
Well,
Amendment.
Peppermint Patty's interviewing him.
From holding office.
Go Shifty.
The same people that lecture us about democracy and about insurrection and participating in all the elections. And don't you dare disenfranchise people from voting. If you ask for a signature or an ID, that's racist and blah 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 blah. But that's all to enfranchise people to participate, unless it's participating for Trump. Then, in which case, we don't really want you to participate at all. In fact, we'll just kind of, if a Trump-type candidate, we'll just kind of wreck the election on election day, and then you can just deal with it. So, shift.
The game tonight is on. It's on Paramount Plus, I think.
This is a pretty serious one. This one's out of the district court. This is a city.
I haven't paid for it yet because I have the Paramount Plus through my Amazon account, and I have not Paramount. What's the other one? Peacock. The college games are on Peacock because they do their Big Ten, and last Saturday was the first Big Ten games. Michigan was playing on Peacock, so I haven't had to buy anything yet, but I will when it's necessary. I've been holding off on the YouTube TV. It's fucking expensive. If you get that NFL Plus, I think it is, you can watch it on your phone, on your mobile device, which to me means I can mirror it to my TV. So I don't even know if I have the Amazon Paramount crap on my phone yet or not. I'm going to be at work when the game starts, so most of the game anyway. So I don't get off till about 10:30. There's a ton of new people coming in today too on the evening shift.
We've got Jocelyn Benson in Michigan, who is, in my opinion, a rabid anti-Trumper, does not want Trump to win at all, and so she'll do anything she can to make that happen. Now, if she gets sued by a friendly group, then she's going to put up a fight, or then negotiate a settlement that enables their endgame. So it's kind of the same thing happening here. It's almost like it doesn't even matter sometimes what the actual end game of the suit is. If there's a settlement, if Janet Griswold and these people settle something, for whatever reason, then that might cause some consequences. And I'm not sure that that's going to happen here or not. I'm just proffering some alternatives. So here we've got the attorneys who are filing on behalf of the people filing the lawsuit. They've redacted their addresses and contact information, but they come from an organization called the Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington.
All right.
Donald Sherman, Nicholas Suss, Jonathan Mayer.
I may do a desktop stream. We'll see. It doesn't look like any cars here in the parking lot, which is not a good sign. But
now, remember the last
I know I got a couple set for 2 o'clock, but I could probably manage doing another desktop stream today.
This one's a lot more substantive, right?
We can get it set up within the next 15 minutes or so.
Background. We've got a whole separate grouping of sections. And
So,
making significant
see you guys later.
in 100
If I don't do a desktop
So
stream,
here
I
is
will
what
do
we see. Now,
another
these
driving
people,
stream later.
Norma Anderson,
Peace.
Michelle Piola,
Thanks for riding with me.
Kathleen,
Love you all. Bye.
Christopher, and so on. They are eligible callers.